Hey guys, it's me again, Andrew the Squid Montanez, and on today's episode of MMA Surge, I'm going to teach you guys how to do the omoplata. The omoplata is very similar to the Kimura, but you actually use your legs to submit the guy. And the great thing about this move, you could transition to all sorts of submissions like arm bars and triangles. Although the move, the omoplata, has a very advanced and complicated sounding name, it's actually very easy to do and very easy to learn. So let me bring my friend Simon in to demonstrate on. Just like a lot of other moves, we're going to do this move from inside the guard. Guard position is when I have my legs wrapped around my opponent, hips against him, and he's on top of me. When I'm in this position, I feel that I'm actually in the advantage here. I can start pulling off submissions. My right hand is going to go over and across to his face. I'm going to push him to the furthest point away. Next step, you can almost do these almost at the same time. I'm going to grab his wrist and just bring it to the mat. So I'm pushing his head away and I'm grabbing his wrist. I'm going to open my guard up slightly. Just enough where my legs are still wrapped around him. I can still lock it up if I need to. So I open my guard, I'm going to pull my right leg in, and at the same time, I'm going to look to turn my head and put it off to my left. At the same time that my head's over here, I'm going to try to throw this leg over his shoulder to end up right next to my hand. I'm going to push his head away, pull this knee through, step this foot over, and see it's going right next to where my hand is. And I'm pulling that knee that was moving through. Right hand goes to the mat, and I do a sit-up. Once you sit up and you end up in this position, I'm going to put my left arm over his back. What this left arm over his back is doing is stopping him from doing a front roll. The front roll is what's going to get him out of the move. So he goes for the front roll, I stop him with that arm, and now I can secure my submission. I'm going to keep this leg nice and tight and keep my chest on his arm. My leg and my chest are the two things that's keeping him here. So I keep them very tight. Bring my right foot back. For me to submit him, I have to lift my hips up, drive my head to the opposite side of his ear, and just sit forward. And that's how you'll finish the omoplata. Okay, the one thing I really love about the omoplata is that you could transition from the omoplata into other submissions. What that means is I'm going to be in this omoplata. So I get my omoplata, push his head away, open my knee, throw my leg over, and I end up in this omoplata. You know, some guys like myself are pretty tough. We don't tap pretty easily. When I catch people in submissions, they might not tap. The really cool thing about this one is if I'm sitting here, I can't get this submission. I'm trying, he's not tapping. I still have a Kimura sitting right in front of me. So what I could do is take my left hand, grab his wrist, I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to take my right arm and come through and grab my wrist. Now I have a Kimura. I'm going to roll my left elbow over his back, which is going to do the similar thing. If he tried to roll, I could almost pressure my elbow down. But for me to finish him, just roll this through. You know you have a guy that's about to submit when you go for this and his hand slightly lifts up. If you have a view of the guy's hand, look at it, because that's where you're going to know when the guy's going to tap. The next transition, let's say those two aren't working, you could transition to a triangle. A lot of really good jiu-jitsu players will transition from triangle position to omoplata position, back and forth, back and forth. So this is something you should really become comfortable in if you intend on becoming really good at jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts itself. So for me to transition to a triangle, what I'll do is I'll put my left hand onto the left side of his head. I'm going to put my hand on the mat, and I'm going to try to sit to the front of him while pushing his head between my legs. As my leg opens, I take my other hand, I grab his, now I have his head with two hands, and I fall back into the triangle, lock my legs. Like I've showed you in the previous episode, you do not have to get this arm across, just lift your hips, and you'll get your tap. So those are two really good transitions you could do. If I have this triangle, it's not working, back to this, back to here, back to that. That's how it should look when you transition, that you do one submission immediately to another, one submission immediately to another. All right, so now I'm going to show you the omoplata in full speed and show you why guys like to use this very often for transitioning and pulling off other submissions. So Simon's going to come into my guard. So like I said, attack immediately. I like to quickly go for an omoplata. Right to there. If that doesn't work, transition right to your Kimura. Let me show you a transition from guard position to omoplata to Kimura back to triangle. Just like that, guys. The omoplata, make sure that when you're in guard that you attack immediately. Push his head away and get your foot up and over his shoulder. From there, sit on up, put your left arm over his back. That's gonna save you a lot of trouble. You're gonna make the guy not be able to roll out of the move. You're ready to submit. Sit on up, drive your head to his far shoulder, and put your hips in, and you'll get the submission. All right, so make sure you subscribe to our channel and leave me a message letting me know what move you wanna see next time. I'm the Squid, this is MMA Search, and I'll see you next time. What's up, fellow Squids? All right.
So maybe like this one people first. Hey guys.
Hey guys.